Hey friends, welcome to the new month of Profiles in Flow. This is the video and podcast all about incredible personalities in the flow arts world, how they have gotten where they are in their careers, and some of the cool things that they've done in creating their businesses and everything. My guest this month is the one and only, the legend, Rachael Lust. Rachael Lust was the 2014 Female Hooper of the Year. She's been hooping for 6 years and teaching for 4. And I am delighted to have you with me this month. Thank you so much, Rachael.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So usually I try and keep these to an hour, but we went through a list of questions yesterday via Facebook Messenger that is very, very long and extensive. So we'll see how long it winds up going. But just to start off with, because our paths have crossed a couple times, but we've never gotten to know each other that well. Give me kind of the background on you. Where are you from? How did you get into hooping? Like, what was it that drew you in?
Well, I am from Ohio, very small town in Ohio, live in the country, everyone knows everyone. My mom is a gymnastics coach, so I should probably put that out there, first and foremost. My mom is a gymnastics coach, and I spent my whole life growing up, in the gym doing gymnastics. Once, you get older and your body kind of doesn't move that way anymore, I quit doing it, and I took a break from, physical activity for a while, where I went to college and did all that stuff and, got married, and then I found hooping, and it just kind of replaced that passion that I had, and that's kind of how I started getting into it, is because I already had that gymnastics background, and then when I heard about hooping and the flow arts, then once I caught on to it, it was just oh my gosh, it just made me feel all those feelings like I felt when I was a kid. So I think my mom being the gymnastics coach, and then my husband kind of introducing me to the flow arts, that's kind of how I got started in it.
Interesting. So you came to the flow arts through your husband then?
Yes. So my husband, we had just started dating, and it was at that time, where he's trying to show off for me, and he's juggling. The key to the girl's heart is watching him juggle, Yep. So he's juggling, and we used to work together at a restaurant, and I see him back there, juggling knives, and I'm like, oh. So just, So he's juggling and doing all this stuff, and he comes over, and we just started hanging out, and he starts, spinning FirePoi, which I had never seen before. And he's doing the fire breathing and that kind of stuff. And I was so jealous. I was like, oh, I wish I had something cool that I could do, because I always used to be the gymnast, and I was always known as the girl who does the flips and everything. And then once I stopped doing that, I had moved to a new city, and I didn't really have that kind of identity anymore. And I'm like, man, I want to do something cool. And I had heard about fire hooping. I had no idea what it was. I think maybe it's a common misconception people have, where they think the actual hoop is on fire or something. That's what I thought. I thought you wore some special outfit and you lit this hoop on fire. And I said, I'm going to be a fire hooper. And he goes, do you know how to hula hoop? And I said, no. I said, but I will learn, just watch me. I will learn how to fire hoop. And I did. So that's kind of how I got started. I had no idea what it was. I went and I bought a really cheap hoop from Walmart or something like that, and tried, just a regular hoop around my waist, and I could do that. And then my friend comes over for my birthday, and she says, hey, I heard you had an interest in hooping, and she hands me this hoop, and this hoop is ginormous, back in the day, how big they used to be. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is as big as me. And she's like, well, it's a real hoop, it's not a cheap little plastic thing from Walmart. And so she teaches me this trick. The very first trick I ever learned how to do was that behind the back elbow pass, which is kind of, a harder skill. Yeah,
you're talking about the one where it's in vertical plane, you pass it from elbow to elbow?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was the first trick I ever learned. So she taught me how to do it on my arm and then on my elbow, and I'm hooping on my elbow, and I'm just like, oh my God, look at me go. I got this hoop on my elbow, and I was so excited, and then I worked on it all night, and I got it, I transferred it to the other elbow, and it was just this, oh my gosh, it was just all these endorphins are firing, I was so happy, it was so exciting, that high that you get when you learn this trick, and I'm like, I must learn all the moves, and I just wanted, and I think from that point, I didn't put it down. If I was not sleeping or working, I had that hoop in my hand, and it's been 6 years now, and I hoop all the time. just it's so exciting. I love it. So that's kind of how I got started, between my mom with the gymnastics coach, my husband introducing me to the flow arts, and my best friend showing me what a real hula hoop looked like.
I gotcha.
So that's how I got started.
Okay. So slightly off of the path of what we talked about yesterday, but I'm curious then, like, do you think that having that gymnastics background for you kind of gave you a different attitude towards coming into hooping and training with hooping than some of your other friends who picked up hoop?
Yes. Because I've always, from the beginning, like, I've wanted to be really good. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to just hoop, just for fun, just to have fun. I mean, I do want to have fun because it is fun for me. Right. But I want to be good, you know, and I was like that in gymnastics. Like, even, my teammates who were also my competitors, like, we competed and we pushed each other a lot to try to be better than the other person. We were still best friends, we were like a family. Yeah. But I think when you want to be really good at something like that, it's not just like a hobby, it's a lifestyle, and your life kind of revolves around it. And it's not just the practice, but it's everything that goes with it, like the foods that you put into your body, taking care of yourself, having, good mental health, getting sleep, and just everything kind of revolves around that. So yes, having gymnastics background had taught me, how to push myself, how to stay disciplined and focused, and body awareness too, from like a physical aspect of it. I didn't ever do any rhythmic gymnastics, so I had no background with the hoop or anything, but I still think, the fact that I was able to do handstands and cartwheels and like somewhat flexible and, being able to move my body and have control over that definitely helped to transfer it to the hoop when I started learning that.
Gotcha. Okay. So in terms of getting good, now when you came into this, what was your training regimen? How did you go about getting good?
I just did it all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, it was really different back 6 years ago because we didn't have all the workshops that we have available today. We also didn't have all the tutorials and all of the groups and everything that we had. So it was just kind of a lot of on-body hooping for like at least the first year. I just practiced all the time. Now, 6 years later, I have like a more organized workout schedule on trying to reach my goals, but back then it was just practice all the time. Do whatever I need to do to practice, but now it's a little more structured and focused.
So what is what does your practice look like now, and how did you find the things that worked for you for your practice?
Well, like, I went through a time, like I said, when I first started hooping, I wanted to learn everything. Mm-hmm. Now that I've kind of found myself a little bit, like, I'm going to tell a quick story. Back when I was like idolizing Tiana Zoomer, she was just amazing. She was, I was in love with her. And I heard her give a speech this one time about, don't try to be like anyone else. And at the time, I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to be you, I want to grow up and I want to be Tiana, and I'm like, easy for you to say, Mm-hmm. And then after a while, I kind of started to figure out what she was saying, and I found my own thing. So what's changed a little bit is when I first started, I was always trying to like keep up with people, like learn all the tricks that everyone else was learning. And now I've kind of stepped back from that, and I don't really try to keep up with the other people, but I focus on what I want to do and what makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And if I don't learn every trick that every other hooper is learning, that's okay. But I stay focused on what it is I want to do. And for my training, I focus on what do I want the most, and I make that the top priority. Cool. I'm sorry, I kind of forgot the question, but...
No, it's all good. So diving a little bit deeper into that then, what is your current goal with your practice?
I have so many, but I feel like my two main goals, I had somebody ask me this at the very beginning, and it's never changed. I always want to get better. That is like the main thing. I'm always trying to push myself to be the best that I can be. And my other goal is just to enjoy myself. I don't ever want to not like hooping. I want to do it because I love it, and that's the main reason. So I do have like a million goals. Like, most of them involve flipping right now at the time, like incorporating the gymnastics back into it. Those are like some like concrete goals, but it's always get better and love what I do. Sure. So that's never going to change.
So how many hours a week do you reckon that you spend training now?
A week? Oh God, I'd say like 5 hours a day.
Oh wow, okay.
It's since my son's in school now, it's a little bit easier. Like, I put him on the bus in the morning, so I'm up and he's gone by 8 a.m. And so I have till 3 p.m. to get done what needs to be done. And so I'll start like hooping just for fun, like free flowing, I feel good. And then I'll do some drills in there, and then I'll do like a quick workout in there, and then I'll do some stretching. So it's not like 5 hours of like solid, like, killing yourself, but it's totally a mixture of flexibility, drills, flow, working out, and then maybe building the business a little bit.
Sure.
So,
wow.
But I'd say 5 hours a day, and I usually try to do 6 days a week. I try to give myself at least one day off.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Well, muscle fatigue and things like that. You don't want to be training yourself constantly.
Yeah, but then it's like those days come around, and like I don't even know what to do with my life right now. Like, what am I supposed to do if I'm not going to be hooping all day?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this actually came up in my conversation with Olive, but on those days when you do have to like wind yourself down and not work, how do you do it? Because if you've got a trick, we would both love to know it.
I guess I try to keep up on the house stuff more so at that time, like the laundry and the dishes and the schoolwork, or, those odd jobs. Or sometimes, even if I'm not doing something physically demanding, then I usually take that time to build my business a little bit, because I don't really put a ton of effort into my business. It's more training. So if I do have to take a break, I still try to be productive, at least in some way, whether it's like social media or choreographing something, but not killing my body every day. So
I want to talk a lot about your business, but I also want to go back and kind of talk about how you've built your career over the years. Because, both you and I know that there's no step-by-step guide on how you build a career, and it is a lot of doing the right thing a couple times and doing the wrong thing a whole bunch of other times and everything. So how about let's jump back, and so how long had you been hooping before? Because the first time I became aware of you was when I saw your Groove video.
It started a lot earlier than that.
Yeah, no, your internet presence, or?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what happened before the Groove video? What are the early days of Rachael Lust? Okay,
so I started, Facebook was way different 6 years ago than it is now, obviously. So I started, making some little mini flow videos and putting them on YouTube and Facebook, and I would get, I think the first big video, I got like 18 likes. I was like, oh my God, I got 18 likes. Like, this is unreal. I can't believe this. And that was just like a little video in my kitchen. And then I just did a couple more. And I noticed that every time I was getting like a few more likes, And I'm like, wow, people like to watch this stuff. And then, so then this one day, I don't know if you have watched Thrift Shop, my video Thrift Shop, but there was this song, Thrift Shop by Macklemore, that was like really happening at the time, and I think that really helped with my viralness for that one. But it was really good. It was a really popular song, and so I'm in the kitchen, I'm filming, I'm dancing, I'm like jamming out, I'm feeling good, and then my son, who was a baby at the time, he was like 1, I go for like 2 minutes in my kitchen, just totally going. All of a sudden, he runs into the kitchen, totally naked, and is like, surprise, And I was like, oh my gosh, and I shut the camera off real quick, and it was so funny, and I showed my husband, I showed some of my friends, and they're like, that is hilarious. And I was debating, like, do I put this on? But like back then, my camera quality was so bad, you couldn't see anything, and I'm like, well, you can't see anything. And there was like a big argument between commenters, like, he's wearing pants, like, no, he's not, yes, he is. And I'm like, they're arguing whether he's wearing pants or not, you can't see anything. I'm like, it's okay. So I put this on, and it went viral, like mega viral, like million views viral, which was totally, I think that's like when everything changed, was Thrift Shop. Like, I started getting people like, hey, we want you to come on the news. We want to sponsor you. We want to do this and that. And it was very overwhelming. And I just continued to kind of work on, I did a couple TV appearances for like local news stations, a couple things. And then I had another video go viral. It was Away We Go, and it got like 1 million views too. And I remember I woke up overnight and I just had a full inbox, full Facebook message request. Like, nobody could send me a friend request anymore. I'd reached my like overnight, and it was wild. So I already had that going. I had 2 viral videos under my belt, and I was still continuing to make flow videos. And then I think my people were getting bored. They're like, you need to go out and you need to make a nice video. So that's when I decided I'm going to make a Groove, and I put a lot of effort into that. I don't know if you want to get into detail about the Groove video and how
I would like
came to be.
Before we do that, though, I'd like to grab one detail about your first 2 viral videos, though. What were you using to record yourself back then?
Like a $20 camera.
Okay.
It was bad. You couldn't even hardly see.
Right.
Somebody commented on my YouTube. They go, "Did you use a toaster to film this?"
No, I just want to put a bookmark in that, because for people who are watching at home and everything, the Rachael Lust empire started on a $20 camera. It's not.
Yes.
It is not about the technology you're using. It is about the content.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of people hadn't seen hooping yet, and the song was really, really viral at the time. And then you just had that icing on the cake with the baby at the end. And I think it was just a combination of all 3 of those things that kind of, I just hit it all at once, and I got lucky.
Managed to bottle up lightning.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally. Cool. So let's talk about groove. And yes, I want you to go into gory detail on this.
Okay, so people were getting tired of my kitchen. They're like, "Get out of your kitchen, go do something somewhere else." And at the time, like, I was a waitress. I had a new baby. I didn't have any money, and I wanted to make this really awesome video, but I didn't have the finances to be able to do that. And I took a lot of planning for this. I'd say I spent about a year really just planning this in my head. Like, I wanted everything about it to be perfect. I wanted the perfect song. I wanted the perfect background. I wanted the perfect outfit. I wanted the moves to be perfect. I didn't know how to video edit. I downloaded like the free Windows Movie Maker or whatever. Didn't know how to use it, but I'm like, I'm going to learn. And it took a while to get all my ducks in a row for that. Like, and everything just came together like absolutely perfectly. Like, I saw these pants online, and everyone refers to them as like my Spider-Man pants or my Iron Man pants, those red leggings that were so big during the groove thing. And I saw them, and I'm like, this is it. I have to have these pants. They're just like calling my name, and they were like $100. And at the time, like, for me, who was spending like $5 on a pair of Walmart pants all the time, I was like, oh, can I justify spending $100 on a pair of leggings? And like, it was just so outrageous. But I'm like, you know what? You got to spend money to make money.
Right.
And at that time, I had already been having people like kind of contact me about workshops and stuff. So I was already kind of thinking along those lines of doing workshops. And I was like, I want to do a bunch of workshops. So I got to make this video and attach my workshop schedule to it to sell these tickets. And then I heard the groove song, and I heard it. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I reached out to the artist. I tracked him down. I said, can I please use your song? I don't have any money to pay you. I said, but can I just use it? And he said, yes. Just, put my name in there. I'm like, absolutely. So I was really lucky for that. And then the camera thing, I didn't know how to work a camera. I didn't have a camera. I didn't know anybody that had a camera. So I saved up, I think it was like $65, which was also a huge spending thing at that point in my life, to drive an hour and 15 minutes to a camera shop to rent a camera for the weekend, and borrow a tripod from a friend and set up for this group video. So that's how that happened. I saved up the money for this camera that I didn't know how to work. I reached out to the musician. I found these pants and spent my entire savings at the time, because I was young and poor, and I figured out how to kind of edit a little bit. And my thought process at the time was, I want this video, it's going to be very different than any other flow video. It's going to be very choppy, and my goal was, I don't want people to be able to look away from it. I want to catch their attention immediately, and I want them to be so enthralled in it that they cannot look away and they watch till the end. And it kind of did work with that choppiness, because a lot of videos weren't like that at that time. And it just really, it took off. It really worked for me. I attached my workshop ticket sale link to it, and I started selling tickets. So
that's awesome.
Groove, I put my heart and soul into that video, just trying to make sure everything was perfect for it. So it took a lot, but it was worth it. It was worth the effort. So
just to be a video production nerd for a second, what was the hardest part of the shoot?
The camera. I still don't know how to work a camera. This is a huge, expensive camera that I rented, and it was so dark, and I don't know anything about like ISO or aperture or whatever those.
Yep.
And I'm like, why is it so dark? And I had to rent it twice. Like, I had to take it back and then go rent it a second time. And so that was probably the hardest part out of everything. Oh, and then I ran into the issue of, I put it up on YouTube and they took it down because of copyright music. And I was And I sent them, like, I disputed it. I sent them screenshots, like, look, I have permission, you know. And they didn't answer me. So then I put it on Facebook, and it took off. And then I'm like, you know, I really got to get this on YouTube, though. I put it on again a second time, and it worked. I don't know how. I don't know if it was I don't know, but it worked, and it was on there. So that's a struggle, is the social media blocking your videos all the time for music. That's a big struggle. But
yeah, which, you know, fortunately, we're now in an era where, you know, YouTube doesn't, well, for the most part, doesn't take down your videos if there's copyrighted information in it anymore. You can get a flag, but I've never actually gotten a copyright flag myself. Have you?
They always say it's nothing to worry about. They're going to just put ads on my video, and then the revenue from the ads goes to them, but they're not going to take it down. I'm like, okay, I can deal with that.
But I mean, the cool thing is that off of the Groove video, you had a backdoor way of still getting revenue off of it, that was your promotion for your upcoming workshop tour, you know?
Yes. Yes. And it worked out really well.
Had you done a workshop tour before that, or was that your first one?
That was my first workshop tour. I had been teaching, I had taught gymnastics too when I was younger a little bit, so I had a little bit of background in teaching, and then I had been teaching local classes for about a year, but I had went to one of Tiana's workshops, and I came home from it, and I was just so energized, and it just changed me, like, all right, I'm ready to get serious about this whole thing, like, I'm ready to make a move, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, what can I bring to the table? And people had always kind of, like, commented on my breaks. And they're like, your breaks are really good. And I'm like, really? Like, I didn't know at the time I really liked doing them, but I didn't know that they were any different. And they're like, no, your breaks, they're good. You should teach those. I'm like, okay. So then I started thinking maybe I should do a breaks workshop, you know? And I worked on them really hard. I got them. And that was kind of the thing about the video that a lot of people liked. They're like, oh, I've never seen anybody do breaks like that before. So that was like, so then I taught the breaks workshop, and it was a big draw because they hadn't quite seen it quite like that before.
Yeah.
And it was new and different, and supply and demand. Everybody wanted to learn how to do them. So it was breaks is what I decided that I could bring to the table, something that a lot of other people could not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never would have been able to make a workshop tour teaching intro to hooping skills, you know?
Well, you might be surprised. I mean...
Maybe, but it'd be a lot harder
if
you don't have something like a specialty to offer.
Right. No, you found a really, really unique niche there in something that people found very visually arresting, that you were in a unique kind of position to teach. Like, I think the term for this in business is like the value proposition or something like that, you know? So, in terms of doing that first workshop tour and everything, how did you, like, number one, how did you find the cities that you were going to have stops in? Did you promote through anything other than the video? And yeah, let's start off with those two questions.
Not a lot. Most of the people reached out to me. I mean, I reached out to some people, and I think I might have put up a status or two. I think I might have put up a status like, because you see these Facebook memories, and it said, I think I want to try to teach a workshop. I wonder how that'll go. And I'm like, oh my God, it almost makes you cry, you know? Like, oh, that's so long ago. I'm like, I wonder if I could teach a workshop. But I think at the beginning, I had a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, do you want to come to our city and teach breaks? And I'm like, yes, I do. So most of them reached out to me. Now it's been 4 years, so I've learned what cities I need to go to. I've learned the good ones and which ones aren't so good. So now I just reach out to my host, like, hey, what's a good date? What's going to work for us? You know, Back then I would say it was most of the time them reaching out to me. Or other hoopers, not necessarily a host, but hoopers saying, will you please come to this city and teach me? I want to learn from you. And if I got enough from that city, then I'd be like, hey, I've gotten like 10 people that have asked me to come to this place. Can you guys help me get here somehow? So it was mostly people reaching out to me, asking me to come there.
Gotcha. What was the biggest lesson you had coming out of that first workshop tour, either positive or negative? Or actually, let's do biggest two lessons, positive and negative. What was the don't do that again, and oh, I need to do more of this?
I learned the hard way that big cities don't have bathrooms in their gas stations like we do around here. And I'm like, I go into this gas station, like, can I use your bathroom? And they just looked at me like, so. Like, you ain't from around here, are you? You know? And I'm like, oh man, this is so different, you know, because I'm so sheltered. I had hardly left Ohio. I was 24 years old. I'd never been on a plane before. I had hardly ever left Ohio, ever. And so I went everywhere, you know, it was really wild. What did I learn? I'd say, No matter how much planning you do and how much you try to get your ducks in a row, sometimes things do not work out well, and there isn't really anything you can do about it. Give me a second. And sometimes you can't sell tickets. It doesn't matter even if you are like super viral. You know, my video got a lot of views, but I still struggled to sell some tickets, and I had to cancel a lot of workshops the first and second year because I just didn't have enough. And it sucks, and it's embarrassing to have to cancel, you know, when you only get like, sorry guys, I only had 2 people buy a ticket, I'm gonna have to refund your money, you know. Right. So what did you decide was the threshold to cancellation? How many people had to sign up before you keep the date? It would always depend on how far away the city was, what the venue fee was, and I would just, if I was going to lose money, I'm not going. You know, at least if I'm going to make a little tiny bit, I would always try to go because I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want to like refund money that I had already taken in. So as long as I was going to at least make a little bit, then I was usually going to go. But if I was going to lose money, then I couldn't afford to do that. So I've learned things don't always happen the way they're supposed to. Even if you plan, you can't always sell tickets, and you just have to cancel. Yeah. So it's probably the biggest thing. Okay, cool. What's the biggest thing you wish you had known before you started the tour? God, I don't know. I don't. It's just like a little bit of learning here and there. I don't really know if I have anything big. I've learned like what cities to avoid, which cities are best. I learned you cannot take pepper spray into Canada, or you will be in big trouble. I felt like a criminal. Oh my God, I didn't know. So I learned that the hard way. But I don't really have any big things that I can take away from it. It's all like you learn you don't go through Chicago Friday evening. You just don't do that. Yeah. Like, so not unless you're a pretty aggressive driver. God, every time I go there, I'm like, I'm never coming back. But I always do. But there's nothing really big, major, I don't think, that I've learned. It's just like a little bit of here and there, little things that you pick up. So sure. Sorry, no. No, that is a perfectly good answer to that question. Because, no, again, part of the reason why there's no like book on how to do this is that in a lot of cases, things only become clear in retrospect, and they only become clear because there have been like 8 million small steps that have led to getting to where you are. You know. Okay, so you completed. I also learned don't go to Florida in August. I don't know why I did that the first year, and then I learned, I'm not doing this again. So now I go to Florida in November. That's a good plan. Don't like to sweat to the oldies. Oh my God! You can't even breathe. Like when you so. But that's not a big thing. Yeah, I will likewise give you the tip that you shouldn't come to the Baltimore, D.C. area in late July / early August because we're just as bad. Oh, okay. Yeah. Gotcha. There was one day I had to shoot a video back in August where the humidity was at 96%. And I actually couldn't shoot the video because the lens would fog up from all of the moisture in the air, and there was nothing that could be done about it. Oh man, I have to, over the last 4 years, I did really well this year as far as like staying in the perfect weather at all times of the year. Like I try to do like my southern states more in the fall, you know, like Texas, Florida, go down there when it's like 70 degrees in October, November. But then I go up north, like to Canada, Ottawa, like in the dead of summer, where, so I've learned that way to stay in the good weather, you know? Yeah. Chase the good season for each region. Yes. Wicked. So you finish up the Groove Tour and you come home and everything. So what is your next step? Is this are you thinking this is your career, and if so, how do you build from there? I wasn't really thinking it was a career necessarily. I was just trying to stay afloat because before Groove, I had a plan, as everyone has a plan. Like I went to school and I got my 4-year degree, and then I went right into a graduate program. So I was like 2 years deep into a graduate program, and I had been at my job for 8 years. And so for me to just drop out of school and quit my job of 8 years to go chase this idea that I'm going to be a hula hooper, like it was wild. There was a lot of doubt, people like, I don't know if that's really a good idea. Yeah. But I was just bound and determined to just bring in income however I possibly could to just pay the bills, I'm like, I'll do these workshops, I'll teach private lessons, I'll make hoops, I'll sell t-shirts, like I'm going to do whatever I can to feed this kid and keep this roof over my head.
Right.
But I will say that after Groove went viral, that was probably the hardest part in my personal hooping career, or not career, but personal hooping thing, because I got stuck in a rut. Like, I put so much of effort and heart into producing this video, and I gave it my all, and after that I just didn't know where to go from there. I didn't have any inspiration. I felt like I could never top what I've already done, and I didn't know what to work for, and it was kind of sad, because I would be hooping, but I wasn't getting the same feeling out of it. I didn't know what tricks to work towards, and that was a really big struggle. After the Groove tour, I finished up around November, and I stayed in for the winter because I didn't want to travel in the winter,
Yeah.
And I just kind of focused on, all right, what can I teach next year? What can I teach next year? And I came up with some cool skills, and I always tried to stay afloat that way. But it was really hard after Groove to just like find my way into it again, because I hit a plateau.
Yep.
And it lasted a year at least, I say. But then I started to find my way again, and I don't know, it's worked out. So, but that was a hard time in my own personal hooping path.
Yeah.
Was after that.
What do you think broke you out of that plateau?
Well, I started thinking, like, what do I want to do? And I really wanted to get some flips in there. Like, I used to be a gymnast, I wanted to do aerials again, and I wanted to do back flips and back handsprings and really incorporate, like, I want to do a back flip with my hoop. People don't do that. I mean, there might be a couple people out there that do, but people don't do that.
Right.
And so, and I knew I had a long way to go. So I started working out, and I didn't like exercising. I mean, I like flipping and hooping and doing fun stuff, but I don't like actually physically exercising, like squat jumps and, all that stuff. But I'm like, if I want to flip and do that, like, I need to build some muscle. So I started working out slowly, just a little bit, not taking on too much. I'm not going crazy, but just to build some muscle up so I can flip again. And so that kind of, even though I wasn't like having like a real strong connection with the hoop at that time, I was still getting somewhere slowly but surely. And it took me a few years, but I'm glad that I started then, because now I'm finally able, like, I'm strong enough to be able to do this stuff. Yeah. So even if you do hit a plateau, which you will, everybody hits plateaus or where they don't know where to go from there, I'd say keep at it. Even if you're not doing exactly what you used to do, find something to keep you going. Like, if you need to like focus on strength building for a while, or if you need to focus on your flexibility or something, but just do something, even if just try to, so you're not taking steps back or you're not staying right there where you are, Yeah. So that's what I did. I tried different things, and then I really started getting into the flipping again, and I was able to start doing that a little bit more. And so then I started getting excited about it again, and getting that, I really love it, so it comes and goes. Yeah.
Have you hit another plateau since then?
I'd say I hit plateaus every once in a while, yeah, but they don't usually last long. If I ever feel like I'm just not feeling my flow today, then I'll just do something else. Like, I'll work on handstands that day or something, just something different, but it's still going to help me get better. Yeah. So I'm always trying to get better, but it doesn't always revolve specifically around hooping. So.
Okay. So yeah. So you've hit a dreaded plateau, but also, like, you are in the embryonic phases of creating a business around your hooping and everything. You'd said that you were selling T-shirts and private lessons, and I mean, because everybody was doing it at that time, I assume that you were doing Skype lessons too. So what were the biggest lessons you took from those early days of running your business?
Well, I did like 2 Skype lessons, and I could never keep a connection, and I'm like, this is too hard. I'm like, and I couldn't, it just was too hard to try to teach someone through, and I'm like, forget this, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm really surprised we haven't gotten kicked off yet, because I have terrible internet out here, but we seem to be doing well. So. I forgot the question again.
What were some of the lessons you took from those early years of running your business? Like, what worked, what didn't? Yeah.
Just keep going. You get times where it doesn't quite work out. You might leave a workshop and be like, I didn't do very well on that one. Like, people are just not into it. But you just keep pushing. You don't ever stop. Like, if the workshop's bad, you keep doing it. You don't sell tickets to that one. You know what? I'm going to sell tickets to my next one, and you just keep pushing yourself. And I think a lot of times it's hard for people because they feel like they might not be making any progress and they want to give up on things. But you probably are making progress, because sometimes I feel like that way about myself and my own hooping and what I do. Like, I've been doing the same skills for years, the exact same things, and I feel like I haven't learned anything new. But then, like, I watch my videos from 4 years ago and from 3 and 2 and 1 year ago, and I'm still doing the same stuff, but it's better. Yeah. It's cleaner, it's faster. And so, just keep going. Even if you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, you probably are. So just keep pushing. Yeah. So that's what I learned. Just keep going. Just don't give up.
Okay. So what does your business look like nowadays? Like, where, if in as much detail as you are willing to share with us all, where does the income come from right now?
Workshops. I was thinking, as I was like thinking about our conversation and how this is going to go, and I figured there was going to be a lot of business questions. And to be honest, I don't really have a lot of business answers, and I don't put a lot of effort really into the business. I put effort into my skill. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if he's going to want to interview me if I don't have any advice, but I wasn't going to tell you that until afterwards.
No, it's all good.
So right now, as far as income, right now, most of my income comes from workshops. I'd say like 90% of it. I do get a little bit of money here and there from like the spinsters or my affiliates or, sponsorships or a gig once in a while or something like that. But most of it is workshops. Now, back when Groove went viral, I gotta like make sure I don't forget everything I'm about to say. When Groove went viral, it was a lot different. I would say 60% of my money came from workshops. 40% of it came from hoop sales, licensing fees, like video or TV companies. Like, hey, I want to put your video on our TV spot. Can we pay you a couple $100 for that? Yeah. I would be getting gigs here and there for, music videos or whatever. So back when Groove went viral, I would say a lot more money came from the internet somehow, whether media or hoop sales. But now, fast forward 4 years later, and most of it comes directly from workshops. And one thing that is really odd, and you wouldn't really think this, but over the last 4 years, even though my viralness has gone way down, like it was really crazy. Yeah. Like when Groove went out, and then it's gotten less and less each time. But my workshop ticket sales have increased every year. So my viralness does not necessarily correlate with my ticket sales, which is kind of odd, because you think the more views you have, the more ticket sales you have, and then it's not like that. So
I'm not shocked by that at all.
The viralness, I got a lot of more money from odd sources. Yeah. But now that I'm like really dove into skill building and workshops, I get most of my money from workshops. Yeah. So that's it. It's not, I don't make money from YouTube really or anything like that. Like a teeny bit, but not enough to count. So
yeah, no, I think that this is one of those big myths that I think exists out there in the community, that like if you have a video become like huge and everything, that all the clouds part, the angels sing, and you have a career and you have income and everything, and it doesn't work that way at all. That like sources of income are usually built over time in dependable fashions, and when something goes viral, yes, you have this brief moment where you've got a lot of attention on you, but by nature, virality is temporary, and it's going to be somebody else's turn tomorrow and next week and the year after that and everything, right? So the amount of income that you get off of that one viral video really only exists for a very, very short period of time. And if you're going to have some form of income or a business that operates around what you're doing, you can't build it on a viral video.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps. It does. I'm sure, if I would put another viral video out, I would get ticket sales, because videos do help ticket sales, but there's not a direct correlation between them. Yeah. So I think the fact that my workshops have continued to grow is more just word of mouth, people coming to them, liking them, and returning the next year. So, and that doesn't have anything really to do with the videos.
Exactly. So. That has to do with face-to-face time.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So how many workshop tours do you do a year now?
I try to stop. I think I usually stop in like 20 to 25 cities a year. Wow. So I don't travel very much when my son is in school. I usually save that for like the first week he gets out of school, then we're on the road. Gotcha. So I try to do the most of my traveling June, July, and August. And then once September, October hits, I try to slow it down, and I try to stick to cities that are more around my area. Like Detroit's 2.5 hours away. Pittsburgh is 3 hours away.
Sure.
Try to stay. Chicago's only like 5 hours. So I try to stay closer to my home while he's in school. And if I do have to make a trip down to like Florida or Texas or something like that, I'm only gone for like a day. Yep. But I hit it hard in the summer.
Interesting. So do you actually bring your son on the road with you then?
Most of the time, yes. The only time I don't bring my son is he doesn't have a passport yet. So if I have to go to like Canada or outside of the U.S., then he can't come to those. And if it's a really long trip, like if I have to fly to California or something, I'm not going to take him because I can't afford a second plane ticket. But I do a lot of driving, especially on the East Coast. So if I'm driving, then yeah, he's with me almost all the time. And when I'm at the workshops, he's sitting in the corner and he's building a Lego or playing on his tablet or reading or whatever he's doing, but he's there. And I get, every once in a while you get someone on the internet who decides to be mean and say something like, must be nice to leave your kid while you go travel the world. And it's like, he's in the group photo.
No, that's awesome. I had actually assumed that he stayed at home. That's really, really cool. I bet does he enjoy all the travel with you?
A little bit. His thing is, I bribe him, like, if you are good at the workshop, I'll let you swim in the hotel pool. And he's like, okay, so if he gets to swim in the pool at the hotel, he can sit there and be good for 3 hours. And he's been doing it for so long. I think he was like 3 or 4 when I started traveling. Yeah. So he's used to being in a car for 12 hours at a time and not saying how much longer. He's just conditioned to it. So I'm really lucky that I'm able to keep
super
a kid
impressive
in the car.
For a kid that young.
Yeah, I think it really worked out to my advantage that I had him when I was 22. So by the time he was 3 or 4, he's a lot easier to take care of, like, than an infant would be, so he can entertain himself a little bit. So yeah, he's pretty much with me most of the time when I travel. He's been to like 27 different states already at 7 years old. So he's a lucky little guy.
Do you ever find it difficult to, like, because you're one of the very, very few people that I know, A, that's in the flow arts, B, that, operates a flow arts-based business, and C, has a family, has a child and everything. Do you ever find it difficult juggling those roles?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't talk about my personal life too much, but I will say that when it first started, me and my husband did have some issues, and it was really hard. But, marriage is hard anyway. Yeah. If you have a job and kids, it's going to be hard no matter what. So the fact that I'm traveling, it's just everybody has their issues. We've been together for 11 years now, though, so we make it work. It's hard, and it's a lot of sacrifices on both of our ends. Like, I never stay in a city very long. Like, I've been everywhere, but I haven't seen anything because I go to the workshop, I teach the workshop, I get right back in the car and drive right back home to go see him, or if my son happened to stay home during that class, then I rush home. And we just try to coordinate our schedules the best that we are able to, and it's hard and it takes a lot of work, but I think we're finding to make it work for the both of us, and it's really good now.
That's good. That's inspiring.
Yeah, it's hard, and there's bumps in the roads, and you have to make sacrifices, but if you're in a marriage, you're going to have to do that no matter what, one way or the other. So it can be done. So,
not to put too fine a point on this, but like, has it been that kind of thing that I assume that your husband is not a full-time flow artist, right?
No, he's not involved in flow arts at all, really. Okay. He used to spin poi, like, to show off to me, but other than that, he didn't really do it. He had been done with it for a while, so he doesn't do it. He only does it if I'm like, will you please spin poi for a video for me? I have to beg him, but he's not a flow artist. He works like 50, 60 hours a week at his job, so he's gone all the time. Gotcha. He's gone. So
you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it seems like they're like, earlier you were saying about how you were in school or working when you first started up hooping and everything, and now this is you said like like a 20 to 30 hour a week job for you and everything. So I imagine it's really helped to have a partner that you have that consistent source of income and everything, so you've got a little bit of slack to be able to explore these things with, right?
Yeah, I'm really lucky because my husband does make way more money than I make. He makes like, I'd say 3 times what I make. I wouldn't be able to do this without him, because I mean, I think if I didn't have a family, I think I could get by and, you know, pay my bills with this, but I couldn't live this type of a lifestyle without him. Like, I'm very grateful for him to work at the job that he is not passionate about in order to help take care of me, so I can go and live my dream. And feel bad for him because he has a crappy job, but if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, and I don't have to stress too much, because I know that, like, if something happens and let's say next year nobody buys a ticket to my workshop and just nothing, I don't know, because you never know what's going to happen. Maybe somebody gets tired of me and some other viral person comes and then they get all the ticket sales. I'm not going to be out on the street because he's going to be there to catch me, you know?
Yeah.
So totally. I'm very lucky that I have him for that. So. Yeah.
And at the same time, it must feel incredibly empowering to be able to do this thing and bring more income into the family with it.
I do. Like, I mean, family is like the number one most important thing. Like, that's what I want. Like, I wanted a kid and a husband and a dog in the country, you know? And that's what I've always wanted. That's the most important thing to me. But it is very exhilarating to get out there and travel the world and do these workshops on my own. And like, so like, I'll finish a workshop and I almost cry after every workshop, because I'm just so like thankful of everyone, and being around these other hoopers is just so just full of good feelings, you know. And I feel really powerful, I guess, when I teach like a sold out workshop and people tell me, "Oh, I love this. Totally. This is life changing," and I'm like, "Thank you for saying that." And I feel really just empowered, I guess. But at the same time, like, I couldn't do this without him, you know. I could, but it'd be different.
Yeah, that's fair. So I'm going to roll us back several topics of conversation here, because I love that tangent, but there's other stuff I still want to talk about. So, you know, given that you're not going as viral as you used to be, how do you promote your workshops now?
Facebook. Yeah. And it's like all Facebook. And as much as I hate Facebook because it's just annoying and I feel like it consumes my life, I don't know what I would do without it from a business standpoint. And I kind of fear, you know, people are getting their Facebooks just deleted sometimes. And I'm like, I don't know what I would do if my Facebook got deleted, because that's how I make my event pages. That's how I promote my workshops. I mean, YouTube and Instagram a little bit, but it's mostly Facebook. So, I mean, all the hoop groups in there, you get in like every state has their own hoop page, the Ohio Hoopers, the Michigan Hoopers. That's usually how I promote it. So I'll do like one edited video a year, usually, to promote myself, and then I'll just put flow videos here and there throughout the rest of the year. Sure. But usually it's like one big video a year, put it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and then plug in all my event pages to all the hoop groups and everything, and that's how I usually do most of my promotion. Gotcha.
Do you ever use Facebook ads to promote an event?
I have done it a couple times when sales were a little bit slacking and I needed just like a tiny bit of a boost, and it did help. Like, for like $5, I would sell one extra ticket, which totally pays for itself.
Totally, yeah.
But luckily, I don't have to do that very often.
Okay. Do you do any kind of like, so how do you keep track of the people that come to your workshops then? Do you like have an email list or anything that you send people information on?
No, I need to get an email list. It's been on my to-do list for like 3 years. Like, my social media is a disaster. I really need to put some more effort into my social media and
no, but I mean, that's impressive, because, like, you know, most of the kind of traditional ways that people tell you to build a business are so centered around building a list. And, you know, it means a lot that you can go out there and create the business that you have without a list, you know?
You know, I've had people tell me at the beginning, and I'm sure you've heard this, they say, you know, don't chase the money or that kind of thing. Get really good and the money will come. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I don't really focus too much on building the business. I do like a little bit as far as promoting my workshop events, but I don't put a lot of effort into, I put my effort into skill building and standing apart from the rest and trying to just be as good as I can be. And that's what my focus is right now. It's not so much the business building. So I'm very lucky that I'm able to even sell these tickets. I don't know, but it works out for me.
Definitely.
So,
So one of those other things that you mentioned earlier was affiliate links. You're sponsored through Spinsters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. How did that relationship come about?
Okay, let's talk about this. So I had some other really good advice that I got right from the beginning was somebody told me, you're going to have a lot of people wanting to sponsor you. Mm-hmm. They said, don't take every sponsorship that comes your way because you're going to be a sellout. People are not going to value your opinion anymore. You only work with the people that you absolutely love their product and you want to be a part of that. Don't just take something because you're willing to get something for free. Mm-hmm. So I held off on getting a hoop sponsor for a while. I'd been hooping about 4 years and I still didn't have a hoop sponsor. I had 3 viral videos under my belt and I had a couple people reach out to me about sponsoring me and I just never felt like any of them were a good fit for me. And then I think it's been about 2 years now, maybe a little bit more, that Brandon from the Spinsters, he messaged me and he's like, hey, do you have a hoop sponsor? And I'm like, no, I do not. And I bought my first fire hoop from the Spinsters. And then I bought my first, after that was a big heavy one. Once I was ready for my second one, I bought my second fire hoop from the Spinsters. And it was a good company. Customer service was great. They had been around for almost 10 years, something like that. I knew they were a reputable brand. They had a good product. I knew, it was just good. It was a good fit. And so when he asked me about wanting to sponsor me, I'm like, this is it. This is the company that I'm supposed to work with. I was waiting for that one that was perfect for me, and it was. So I've been working with the Spinsters for about 2 years, and I'm not going to just take a sponsorship just to be to make a couple quick bucks here and there. So I fully support the Spinsters. I think they are a very reputable brand. They have a lot to offer, and I don't want to work with anyone else at this point. So yeah, I'm really, and then things have grown between us. We released the Rachael Lust hoop, which is a whole other topic, which is amazing, and that went really well. So I'm really happy to be working with them. So my advice for people, if they start getting, this sponsorship opportunities, is don't take a sponsorship just because somebody wants to give you something free.
Right.
It
feels good to get that attention, but discretion is the better part of valor.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So. And then same for SpinFX for my LED sponsor. Mm-hmm. I had, I think, maybe 2 other companies reach out to me before them. And I'm like, well, your product's just, I don't want to rep your product. I'm sorry, but it's just not up to par. And then when SpinFX, it's like, we want to sponsor you. I'm like, yes, let's do this. Your hoop is awesome. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So.
And I could be mistaken about this, but I thought I saw a little while ago that there was a sportswear company that either you had endorsed or been sponsored by.
Where did I even wear them? I don't know if you can see it. Junk Brands.
Hey, perfect. Look at that. It's like we planned that.
Yeah. Dude, I live in these pants. That's why I chose them, is because I'm like, I will wear this stuff all the time. I don't think I've taken these pants off since they sent them to me. Yeah. And it's not because I'm trying to just, push it to sell. I just really like them. So a couple years, I think it was right after Groove went viral. I had this company reach out to me and they wanted to sponsor me. But at that time, I had so many people coming at me. I didn't want to get into anything like a contract. I'm like, dude, I just need to just take one thing at a time and figure out. I didn't know anything. Let's just go slow. But let's just do a video. I'm like, okay. So I went to Pittsburgh. We filmed this video. They hooked me up with some gear. It was really cool. I really liked working with them. I liked the video. And then a couple of years later, they reached back out to me and they're like, do you want to continue to work together? And I'm like, I do. So it's this headband, Junk Brands. Headbands are their main things, but they also have pants, tank tops, stuff like that. So sure. I haven't been working with them maybe 2 months, but it's good. I like them.
Right on.
I'll stay with them.
So, what do each of these deals look like? I know that with Spinsters you have an affiliate code, and I assume that you get a cut of sales where they use your affiliate code, and maybe you get a cut of sales of the Rachael Lust signature hoop, regardless of whether the affiliate link is used or not.
Yes.
How does it look with Junk Brand?
It's pretty much the same thing. I think it's I don't know exactly. I think what it is when I give them my discount code, they get 10% off, and then I get 10%.
Gotcha.
Too. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure, and then I think for SpinFX, it's they get $10 off, and I get $10 for every hoop I sell.
Gotcha.
So sometimes it's a 10%, and sometimes it's just a flat rate. And then the Rachael Lust hoop, though, yeah, that was a little bit different. I get, whether or not they use my code, I get a chunk of that because it has my name on it.
Right.
So, and that's a really good hoop. We worked for a little while for that one, and it's amazing.
I believe it. And again, you feel free not to answer this if you don't want to, but I'm curious, which of those three kind of sponsorships is the most lucrative for you right now?
Dispensers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I hoop. I mean, I do use my LED hoop, but I don't use it as much as my Bear Poly Pro.
Sure.
And, the clothes too, but I'm a hooper. That's what people, they want to see my hoop, and they want to know what hoop that I use. So, I want to know your exact specifications. Do you stand it? How big is it? I want to use the exact hoop that you use. So I would say I get most of my stuff from the Spencers.
Cool.
And then we work out a lot of other things. Sometimes money, but we help each other out with things too. I don't get paid for everything I do. I share a lot of their stuff. I don't have to share their stuff, but I do because I want to support them. And when they do well, then I do well. And they take care of me too. Sometimes they'll just send me surprises. He sent me a bunch of stickers one day, like 100 Rachael Lust stickers, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Thank you. So we help each other out. It's not always money thing, but it's
totally.
We help each other, and if they do well, then I do well, and vice versa. So
no, I feel you.
But it's
the people who run LanternSmith are incredibly close friends of mine, and it's one of those things that every once in a while it's just about helping out a homie. It has nothing to do with money on the table.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Totally. Cool. So we are nearing the end of the hour, and we might go over, but just planning ahead to us cutting off at the end of the hour, I guess, here's kind of a gigantic 10,000-foot view question for you, but and I'm sure it actually does happen all the time, if there was a young hooper that came up to you and said, hey, I really respect you and the way you've built your career and everything, what's one piece of advice that you would give them about putting together their own career?
Well, when I was thinking about all these questions, I've noticed that my answers for the career and my answers for just hooping are two completely different things. Yeah. Are you trying to be a better hooper, or are you trying to be a famous hooper who makes money? Mm-hmm. And there's different answers for those. So really, if they come up to me and they say they want to kind of follow my footsteps, I tell them, you got to find what you love. You can't just chase, the certain tricks or try to, be in the spotlight. You have to do what you love. And that's the main thing out of everything. The job thing is cool. The career thing is cool, the sponsorships and the traveling, but at the end of the day, do with why I do this. I do this because I love hooping, and I can't imagine my life without it. So I don't really like to give career advice because I really don't know what I'm doing. But I would say find something that you love that you can't live without, and that you're putting your heart and soul into, and you're passionate about it. And if you're lucky, the money will come in. Mm-hmm. But I don't have really a lot of career advice besides just don't give up. I feel like people are totally capable of doing whatever they want. I dropped out of school to be a full-time hula hooper, which was wild, but I was determined and I made it. So you can do anything you want, but you got to make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. So
can't believe I forgot to ask about this earlier too. What were you in grad school for?
School counseling.
Okay, cool. Do you think you'll ever go back?
No. I think I got so burnt out of constantly being on the computer, constantly researching, typing papers, and reading these texts, and I just got so burnt out of it after, you went to school for 12 years, and then I went right to undergrad for 4, and then 6, or 2 more for that, and I was so burnt out. I don't even want to think about it. This is so awful. I haven't read a book since I quit school. I used to be a very avid reader, but now at this point, I don't want to do it. I want to move my body, and I do not want to sit there in front of the thing. So it's a backup. I have a degree if something happens, but at this point, I don't want to use it.
Fair enough.
So
cool. So you mentioned just to go completely down a different tangent for a minute, but. So you mentioned Tiana earlier. Who are some of the other hoopers that have inspired you over the years?
I hate this question because I feel like I'm always going to leave someone out, and no matter how many people I name, I'm going to feel bad afterwards, oh, I should have said that person too. But if I had to narrow it down,
top 5.
I would say top 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Tiana and Brecken. Tiana and Brecken are like the top 2. They are just, I love them. I love them so much. Oh my gosh, I love them. Tiana and Brecken. And then I had a lot of influence in the beginning from Babs Robinson. She is so cool. I learned a lot of, I used to watch her videos over and over, and her tutorials were so good. So Babs, Katarina, she had some amazing stuff. I think Katarina might have been the first one that I saw do a lot of breaks in a row, and they were very different than mine. Yes.
Cool.
She had this breathing breaks video a long time ago, and they were very slow, and like she was sitting down and like meditative almost. And I really liked them, but I wasn't into that like meditative type thing, you know. But it was still really cool. So you got Brecken, Tiana, Katarina, Babs, I don't know, everybody. Everybody else can be number 5.
Okay.
Everybody, like combined.
You got a lot of number 5s. It'll be an infinite number of 5s. That's cool. So what do you currently love about the hoop community, and what do you wish would change about it?
I have met some amazing people in these last 4 years, and some of them, even though they live in different states and I've only met them a couple times, I still feel like they're some of my best friends already, you know? And it's weird to like just meet someone that you never hardly see that can be that close to you, but I have met some of my best friends through hooping. And what do I think that needs to change about it?
Yeah, what is sorry, go ahead.
But at the same time, you get some people that are just jerks and mean, or doing it for the wrong reasons, and they hate you because you're successful, and you get that too. But
I think
whatever.
You get that anywhere.
What's that?
I think you get that anywhere.
Yeah. I guess that's my answer.
Okay.
You got good people, then you got bad people. So
yeah. Encourage more of the good people.
Yeah.
What do you see the future of the hoop community being right now? Where do you want to see it go?
I think as long as more people, I don't know about the mainstream thing. I saw like you were talking about that in a previous video, like last week or the week before. And mainstream's cool, but I think just as long as more people start hooping, because it has so many benefits, like, you know, physical benefits, obviously, and then like mental health benefits too. And then there's like, you know, the other things, like the extras, like the travel and the career and the people, that's all great. But just if you can get more people hooping, it's going to help your body, you know, it's just going to help you be happier and healthier. So as long as more people are exercising and less time, you know, on their phones or sitting or, you know, that kind of stuff, then it's good. It's a good thing.
Cool.
So
what is the future of Rachael Lust? What's the next step for you?
I would just really want to get really good. I just want to be good. I don't really know. I have all these like crazy outlandish ideas about the future and about where I want to take my career, but I'm not willing to put in the time and effort at this point to do all that stuff because, you know, I'm 30 years old, and which isn't old, but, you know, your body only lasts for so long, and especially with the kind of stuff that I want to do with the flips and everything, like I feel like I have to really tackle that now while I still can. I'm still kind of young, and so my main focus is just I want to get better. I want to get better, and I want to get really good, and then I'll worry about the business stuff later on down the road when my body starts to break down, and then I'll try to hold on a little bit longer and see what happens. But right now, my main focus is training, getting sleep, drinking water, eating my vegetables, you know, practice, and just trying to get better. So that's what my main goal is right now.
Fair enough. Do you have any other words of wisdom you'd love to impart on the people who might be watching this?
Always have a contract and get a lawyer.
Yes, great advice.
Yeah, people are like, well, I can't afford it. Yes, you can. You can afford a lawyer. Like, you know, they'll break it down for 15 minutes for you. Read your contract. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
When you were mentioning some of this stuff earlier about the endorsement deals and video shoots and everything, in the back of my head, I was like, man, I should ask her, did she get a lawyer? And then just for a second, I'm like, what if she didn't? This is going to get super awkward super quickly.
You can ask whatever you want. I mean, I'll answer it, but... No,
that's good. That's good. I'm so glad to hear that. Well done.
I think the main point, I don't know how much time we have, but I'd say the main points that I want people to take away, though, is don't try to follow the crowd and try to go into this trying to be a famous hooper or to make a lot of money or something. Because the money's not that great. I don't really make that much money. You know, I make enough to keep my head above water to pay the bills, but I'm not like raking in a lot. So you got to do it for the love of the sport, so do it because you love it, and practice what you like because you like it. Like I see people doing all these like doubles or quad hoops, and I don't ever do it because I just don't get the same feeling out of it. So I'm not going to chase these other skills when I don't get, this happy endorphins firing when I do it. So I just do what I like, and people like it, they do. If they don't, they don't. But I'm just going to keep doing what I like to do.
Yep.
So
I feel you on that one. A lot of time people will come up to me and be like, hey, you should try this prop and that prop. And I'm sure you have the same thing where in the back of my head, literally the first thing I think is that's going to take time away from poi.
Yes, I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I had a friend when I had only been hooping about 2 years, and he goes, eventually you're gonna have to start doing more than one hoop. And I said, why? And he goes, because you're gonna run out of stuff that you can do with a single hoop. And I'm like, you are so wrong. What? How much time do we have?
I mean, we can take as much time as we want here.
Because there was something that I wanted to talk about a little bit. I don't know how much time we have, but I'm almost positive it was you. And this might have been like years ago. You had posted something, and I don't know exactly what it said, but it was something along the lines of, don't try to be motivated, but instead try to be disciplined, because motivation is...
it's fleeting.
Yes, fleeting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so right, man, because if you want this to be your job, you got to show up. You can't just,
Yep.
Well, I don't have to report it. I don't have to clock in, so I'm just not going to practice today. No, you got to practice. You got to do it every day. This is your job. You are your own boss. And, yeah, motivation does not last. So you can, look at videos all day long and, try to get up and motivated, but motivation's going to leave as quickly as it came. But if you train yourself to be disciplined, then you can still get your job done even when you don't want to do it. So that's what I've really, I'm very disciplined. That is one thing that luckily I'm like that, because I do get the stuff done. Even though I wake up sometimes, I'm like, I do not want to do this, but I do it anyway. So train yourself to be disciplined and do it anyways. So
absolutely. That if you want to have a career in anything, if you want to be the best at anything, that is the biggest thing you need, with a triple underline on it. Show up to work every day, especially the ones you don't want to.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
I think there's a little bit of fine line. You have to know when it's time to take a break.
Oh yeah.
But that doesn't happen very often. That can't be every day. I'm just a little tired today. I need a break. No, it's only if it's serious, I really cannot do anything today. But
right, yeah, those days do happen when it's either a good idea, either because you might risk injury, or there might be some other physical limitation that's going on, or some time limitation. You got family in town or something like that, and like you said, family first. But because you're not into it, or because you can't get your favorite DJ mix or whatever, no, show up to work.
Right. Yes.
That's awesome. I didn't know that had made an impression on you. That's really cool to hear. I'd totally forgotten that I posted that.
Yeah, I read it. I'm like, oh, this is so right. I'm like, this is spot on. So, because you hear people be like, I just can't be motivated. It's well, I'm not motivated either. You think I want to do push-ups? No, I don't want to do push-ups, but I want to do some crazy stuff with that hoop. So I'm going to do my push-ups. Yeah.
No, this is something that my partner and I occasionally have discussions about. Is she works a day job that she's not particularly happy about, and every once in a while I'll get this thing about oh well, you do what you love for a living and this and this and that. I'm like, I mean, most of the time I'm doing stuff that's either painful or very difficult. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not like I'm going off and I'm having fun all the time, but.
Yeah, my dad said something that he was complaining about his job. He goes, I don't know why I'm complaining to you. You don't have a real job. And I'm like, don't say that to me. I'm like, you know what I do. And he's like, yeah, but some people, he's not mean. He's supportive, He didn't really mean it in a negative thing, I don't work or something. But yeah, it's different. People think that they know what your job is like based on your social media, but they have no idea. People make all kinds of assumptions about your life based on one 60-second video that they see, and they think they know it all, but it's so different than what social media, how people perceive you. So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think to a certain extent that's the essence of social media, is that there is this kind of persona or this image that gets created by dint of the fact that people only have access to a certain amount of information about you. And there's only certain information that you want to put out there,
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I'm sure that this has happened to you too, where sometimes people who meet you have a difficult time separating out who you are from like who the presence is on your social media.
I feel like it's kind of like, for me, myself, like I feel like Rachael Lust is this amazing hooper, but it's not me. You know what I mean? Like she's like this alter ego of like, I don't even know what she is, but it's very different. Like I'm a homebody. I'm very introverted. I like to just be by myself alone, but then people are like, you're an introvert, like I would not, so it's different. Different. Home life and social media life are two completely different things.
Yeah. I think I described this once to somebody as like being analogous to like having a character out there who like shares your name and like that you've never met.
Yes. Like I wish I was as good as Rachael Lust was, like I don't know, I just feel like it's a different kind of person because, when I put the videos out, I put out the good stuff, what I want to show,
Totally.
I'm not going to put out all these drops all the time. I mean, I do every once in a while just to show people, that drops happen, but my normal flow during the day and what I put out there is different.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay, so this is a thing that I wrestle with occasionally in terms of like social media presence and everything, but because like, we have a presence that's built out of these pieces that some of them we have to throw away and some of them we decide that we are going to present to people and everything. Like, I have very deep doubts that it's possible to have a fully authentic presence on social media because to some extent you're always going to be editing what it is. Do you feel the same way, or do you feel like you're able to present an authentic version of yourself out there?
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. I'm very... sometimes I post, you post things like, I shouldn't have said that, But
Right.
for the most part, like, I don't put my opinion on...
Totally.
I don't put an opinion out there. And I don't talk about touchy stuff, like, like, if something like a major disaster happens, like, there's, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's bad things going on.
Yeah.
I don't touch on that because I don't even... It's not that I don't care, because obviously I care, but I'm not gonna...
Totally.
I'm not going to speak on it on social media. I pretty much keep my social media, my hooping, and I'll put a couple pictures of my kid once in a while, but it's basically hooping because I don't want people to know,
Yeah, no, I feel you because there's that really terrible thing where at once, of course, you feel something about this, but at the same time, you realize that your words have more weight than just being your words.
Yes. And people misconstrue stuff so much.
Exactly. Like, it's very, very easy to do more damage than good by firing something off without thinking about it.
Yeah, so I try to not put very many words out there.
Yeah.
I hardly even put statuses out there just because I don't even want to know I don't want people to know what I'm thinking because people will find, like, if somebody doesn't like you, they'll find a way to make it bad or something. So, no, I definitely don't put my authentic self out there for everyone to see. I'm very choosy about what I put out there, and it's pretty much just flow related, and that's about it. Unless it's a really funny meme.
Yeah. So breaking news: Rachael Lust's life is not a never-ending party of flow breaks and her cute son.
Well, it kind of is, but I'm not going to put my opinions about certain things out there on Facebook. So.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but one way that I sometimes do this is I actually like have these giant text files that are nothing more than like posts that I've wanted to write on Facebook, and they just become these giant masses of text after a while. And it's like maybe 1 out of 9 of those will actually wind up getting posted. And this actually comes back to bite me every once in a while. And it did actually when I first reached out to you. Because you'll remember there was like a little sentence at the beginning of it that was actually chopped off of one of these posts that I didn't make.
I didn't think anything of that. It was no big deal.
Cool.
But I will a lot of times, like, I'll start to write out a status or share something, and then I just erase it without ever posting it because I'm like, just keep it to hooping, and my friends and family see me and like my real me, and I'll just keep social media for hooping, and that's about it. So I'll get into the.
Do you ever have that experience where like you're writing out a post and like halfway through it you just stop and you're like, there's other more productive stuff I can be doing right now, and just gone?
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to know what the questions were going to be for this one, because I had to plan my answers, because I'm like, I don't know, like, what's he going to throw at me, you know? I just didn't want it to be, like, too in-depth, but it was all good, so.
Cool, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are at an hour 15 now, and unless you had anything else you wanted to dive into, I would like to draw to a close, if for no other reason than this. It's going to be a lot for people to listen to on the tail end of this. It's been a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, I probably won't read it or watch it.
I know. Isn't that like the most painful thing ever? Is to like watch yourself talk about this?
Yes, I've tried to watch my own interviews before, and I get through about 3 minutes. I'm like, I can't stand listening to myself, and I just turn it off. So.
Well, I appreciate you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate you doing this. I like I said, our paths have crossed a few times, and I'm glad that you were willing to sit down here and chat with me and kind of put all this out there to the world.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So before we sign off here, I'm just going to say thank you all out there who've been watching for the past hour and 16 minutes now. And thanks especially to all of my supporters on Patreon for funding these videos and making them possible. And thanks especially to the friends of the channel, Dark Monk, FlowToys, Emazing Lights, Spinballs, and Ultrapoi for being the companies that sponsor these videos, as we've been talking about sponsorship in this past hour. You guys can tune in next month when I will interview another luminary from the flow arts world. And until then, Rachel, thanks again so much.
Okay. All right.
I haven't managed to schedule the interview yet, so I can't tell you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Peace.